What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Jerome, and I'm coming to you tonight with the review for Love and Hip Hop New York. This is season 9, episode 3, and it's titled Pleas and Thank You. So we are actually going to go ahead and just get right into the video. All right, so I'm gonna start this with Yandy and Juju. They are, catching up with each other. They're talking about the stuff that happened at Jonathan's party, and Juju's talking about how she wasn't invited to the party, which Yandy knew that shit to begin with. I don't know why Yandy did what she did last week, because I thought that was kind of fucked up. Like, you friends with Jonathan, so obviously you know that Jonathan has an issue with Juju. But when Juju says that she didn't get invited to the party, Yandy, your ass knew full fucking well that Jonathan did not invite her, and why Jonathan didn't invite her. But then yet instead you gonna invite her to the party. Like, that was a fucking joke. Oh my god. So then Yandy talking about when she saw Juju, Juju stormed out of there. Like, Juju was over the bullshit because Anais had came at her, and her and Jonathan, really and truly, Anais came at her. But Juju said she did. She went there just to say happy birthday to Jonathan, and that they can talk a little later about whatever issues Jonathan has with Juju. But Anais jumped her pit bull ass into it, and he called Juju secretive. So then Yandy's like, well, you kind of are secretive, and Juju's kind of like, what the hell you talking about? I'm secretive. So then Yandy wants to bring up the whole thing about Juju not telling them after her and Cam broke up. Like, that's not y'all business. Like, that girl could have been in a bad place at that time. Like, she might not have wanted to talk to anybody. Like, her and Cam were together for 10 years. So, I mean, maybe she just didn't want to sit down and have a conversation with anybody about what's going on, what happened between her and Cam. So, you can't really sit there and call her secretive. It's just, you can call her guarded, protective. You can call her anything else but secretive. Secretive, I just did not see. And, Juju said that she just didn't feel like talking about it at that time, which I completely understand. You with the guy for 10 years, you were engaged to him, and your relationship didn't work out. So, you have to go through the mourning process of your relationship, and sometimes you don't want to involve other people in your situation. So, I definitely get where Juju's coming from. And then, Yandy just talking about how she wanted to beat her for it, and I'm like, okay, Yandy. Bullshit. But whatever. Next we have Remy. She is doing a photo shoot for a clothing line that she has, and Papoose is there, and then Juju comes and visits her. So Papoose leaves, and it leaves those two to talk. So Juju is telling Remy about what's going on, how the whole thing that happened, how she's she doesn't trust, she don't really see it for Anais and Jonathan. And mostly because of the whole secretive thing. And she's like, she feels like Jonathan got that from Yandy. And, because, she didn't tell her about her breakup with Cam. And, Remy is trying to be the voice of reason. Remy is like, what, when it comes down to Yandy, I know Yandy cares about you. And, when it comes down, she wants to have a conversation with those two. And she wants to be there to mediate it. And I left this out. I didn't mean to leave this out. But when when Remy was talking about her clothing line, she was telling Juju what she wants to do with the proceeds. So with the proceeds from her clothing line, what she wants to do is she wants it to go to her foundation that she has for women who are getting out of prison. And she just want to make sure that they have bare necessities, which is a good thing. Because it is kind of hard, when a person fresh out of the prison, it is hard for them to try to even get a job because they are in the system. Sometimes they're convicted felons. So, shout out to Remy for that one. They were talking about Remy's music. She's still doing music, but she's just not performing right now. So I'm guessing Remy's gonna wait until after she has the baby to start back performing. And speaking of Remy, because I was just on the Shade Room before I even came on camera, I was looking at her baby bump because she's almost due. And I'm like, damn, it looks like she's just 5 months pregnant. But, shout out to Remy and Pep. Congratulations on the baby. And speaking of babies, before I even go any further, I was on the Shade Room at work earlier today. Or it was either Shade Room or Ball Alert. I know somebody posted a photo of Ocean Zion Bentley, Little Lyrica, and Clutch and Pearl's baby. I cried laughing when I saw that picture. He's a cute little boy. He looks like Mama Dap, and he's a light skinned version of Mama Dap. But I died laughing when I saw that picture of him with them pearls around his neck. I'm like, God damn! Like, this baby is just a few weeks old, and he already got on some motherfucking pearls. Like, y'all, I can't with them too. All right, so then we had this meet up with Yandy, Juju, and Remy. So, Juju basically tells, Yandy how she feels. She feels like the whole secretive thing that Jonathan's saying, it came from not Remy, but Yandy, because, Yandy's talking about how she felt like Juju was secretive about her breakup with Cam. And I'm glad Juju said it, because I was thinking the same thing that Juju said. Not Remy, why do I keep want to call Yandy Remy? Yandy is a fucking hypocrite, because you want to sit here and talk about how, Juju didn't tell you about her breakup with Cam, but in a nutshell, you did the same exact thing that she did. You and Mendices had this lavish wedding that was televised on television that we all sat here and watched, and then come back a season or two later only to find out that their wedding was fake as fuck, because y'all did not actually get married. Y'all didn't sign the marriage certificate, and y'all marriage is not real. Your quote marriage is not real. So I definitely get where she's coming from, that Yandy is a fucking hypocrite, which she is. But again, Yandy wants to talk about how she, wants to be there for her, which I guess if you say something, Yandy, I'm gonna believe it. I'm gonna pretend like I believe it, that you want to be there for her. You just want to be a nosy bitch. Pretty much, that's all it was, to be honest with you. And then, Juju was talking about how after the breakup, and after she told her mom and her sister, and she told Remy and Yandy that Cam came at her, and he was upset about some stuff. So she asked her, did you say anything to Cam? And she was like, did I say something to Cam? And she said, no, I didn't say anything to Cam. So they leave it at that. But when it comes to Yandy, my whole thing with Yandy is she's these girls' friends, but she's their men's manager. Like, you crossing so many boundaries and lines at that point. Like, it's okay to be cool and cordial with the girls, but to be best friends with them, I think Yandy crosses a big ass line when it comes to her friendships and her relationships and her working relationships and her personal relationships. She crosses a line, and she just crosses lines and boundaries. That's just how I feel. All right, so next we got Rubbin Pennies and Jacquay. They are, quote, networking. So then Jacquay is talking about how he's having this performance with Nia Lee that he wants Rubbin Pennies to come to. I'm like, oh, so Mona dug Nia Lee up out the Love and Hip Hop vault, which I had already heard that Nia Lee was coming back before the season even started. So, which I didn't even, when I started seeing the photos of Nia Lee surfacing, I'm like, that don't even look like the same Nia Lee that we saw years ago. And I'm like, what is different about Nia Lee now? Oh, I know what it is. Bitch got a wig. She has a new wig. She ain't bald no more. Cause I'm like, that is not Nia Lee. I'm like, did she have surgery? Did she have some, it's something different about it. And then I finally figured it out. The first season we saw Nia Lee, she had a short cut, and now she has a wig. But cool. I'm interested to see how she comes on this season, because the season that she came on before was not the best season for her. Because I remember when her and Eric and Mena got into it in that club, and Mena threw them ones at her. But we're gonna move on from that one. So then he's talking about, speaking of how she was when she first came on. Jacquay is telling Rubbin Pennies that she slowed down since becoming a mother. I'm like, okay, they all say that. And she's no longer aggressive. So then, Rubbin Pennies is talking about this artist that he is working with, and how he wants Jacquay to meet up with her and, see if he can possibly work with her. And, Jacquay's like, are you trying to sleep with her? And Rich is like, absolutely not. He's not trying to sleep with her. But I'm like, okay, Rich, if you say so. Well, I guess, never mind. I'm not even going to go there. We'll get there in a minute. So next we have Rich meeting up with his artist. And his artist is a social media person that I've known for a few years. Her name is Sydney Starr, and the reason why I know of Sydney Starr is because when I used to watch Bad Girls Club back in the day. I watched Bad Girls Club from season 4 with Natalie Nunn up until about season 11, I want to say. That was the second time that they went to Miami, and I actually didn't finish that season. So I was off and on between BGC 11 and BGC 12 when I went to Chicago. So those two seasons I watched, but I didn't watch at the same time. So technically, we'll say the last season I really watched was season 10, Atlanta, with Paula, Valentina, Alicia, Rocky, Shannon, some other bitches, Jen. I can't remember the other girls' names, but I'm getting all off subject. But I've known Sydney Star since. Actually, I've known about Sydney Star since 2011. I want to say, whatever season Judy was on Bad Girls Club, which was season 8 in New Orleans. She was friends with Judy, and the reason why I know Sydney is because when I used to watch Bad Girls Club, every year when they would start casting, Sydney would always come up in the hashtag for Bad Girls Club, because I would try to keep, I would know who was cast on Bad Girls Club before the show even started. And, I remember Sydney because she would always want people to tweet to the producers to get her on the show. And she even was, like I said, she was friends with Judy, which that still didn't get her on the show. But that's how long I've known about Sydney Star. And if you don't know who Sydney Star is a transgender woman. So, and I guess now she's a quote artist. So she's meeting up with Rubbin' Pennies, and Rubbin' Pennies is talking about how she was in his DMs for about 3 to 4 years. So she's meeting up with Jaquay, and Jaquay comes in there, and she's talking about she did a freestyle for him, and I cried laughing at that. I busted out laughing at that freestyle, because the look on his face when she kept talking about her dick and her penis, he's like, I heard a lot of dicks and penises. And she's like, yeah, I'm a transgender. And then when she got up, like, those white people in that restaurant or that diner, they're like, what the fuck is going on with this crazy bitch? Now, there is one thing that I will say that Sydney Star does have in common with most of Rich's artists. She got the fake titties and the fake ass. I had to say it, but that's one thing that she got in common with Rich's artists. Fake body parts. So I guess Jaquay is going, Jaquay wasn't really feeling her freestyle all that much, because I wasn't feeling it either. I was like, so are we gonna say pump it up? Like, what are we about to say with this? Like, I think she was trying to get her words together, but it just wasn't coming out, flowing right for her. All right, so then we see Sydney. She is in the park, and she's meeting with her friend Byron, who she said she met in a strip club or club, whichever one. And he tried to holler at her, but they just friends now. So she's talking to him. She's telling him how she met up with Rubbin' Pennies. And, he's like, what can he do for you? She was like, I think he can help push my career to the next level. And her friend Byron and I were saying on the same page. Oh shit, excuse me. We were on the same page. Who has he worked with? And she's like, Erica Mena. And he was like, she's popping, but not for music, which is true. Mena is popping, just not for music. And she never will pop for music. I don't give a fuck when nobody says Mena cannot sing. Like, I still think about that scene in Love and Hip Hop season, what was it, 3? When he gave, season 3 or 4, when he gave Olivia her song. I will never forget that scene. That was fucked up. Oh God. And then she mentions Olivia, and I'm like, Olivia has not biz-ounced since the early 2000s. So Olivia is not somebody that you want to say Rich Dollars worked with, because I cannot think of any songs that Olivia has done in the last decade. So try somebody else, sis, because it ain't her. And then, she's talking about how she met with Jaquay, and how, she just he didn't know that she was a transgender, so she's kind of worried if that'll hinder him from working with her. And I'm like, whatever. If what Cayenne said is true, it shouldn't. And then, she's also talking about Rich as well, how, she feels like if he posts pictures of her on social media, people are gonna be like, oh, that's gay and this and that. So, I mean, I get her point, but, her friend was just like, he trying to make money, so he shouldn't be one to let that shit phase him, which that is true. If you're out here trying to get your money and shit, Don't worry about what nobody else got to say. Like, fuck. All right, so then we had this performance with Nia Lee and Jacquay. It was a decent little song. Wouldn't be nothing that I would buy personally, but it is what it is. And then they finish. They perform. They finish it. Then they go down there where Rubbing Pennies is, and when Nia comes down there with him, I don't know why she came at him the way she did, because it seemed like she was coming at him all kind of side. Oh shit, excuse me. It seemed like she was coming at him sideways, and he's talking about how he's somebody that's been in the business for 20 years, and I'm like, in them 20 years, what the fuck have you done? You have not produced any hits from anybody. You ain't did shit for Olivia. You ain't did shit for Minna. You ain't did shit for what's her name? Anais. You ain't done nothing for Johnny Blaze. You ain't done nothing for, who else has he worked with in the past? You ain't done nothing for any of them chicks. So, and three of them that I've named are really very talented. Anais is talented. Anais can sing. I listened to Anais single that she promoted last season when she first came on there, and I'm like, Anais is talented. Like, this show makes her look like a fucking joke. And Olivia, we all know Olivia's talented and can sing. And then Johnny Blaze. Johnny Blaze is really talented. Girl can play musical instruments. She can sing. So Rubbing Pennies is a motherfucking joke. So then he's telling Nia how she came at him, and then Sydney comes in there. He's like, yeah, you could have came a little bit bubbly like she did. So then Nia kind of gets in her feelings just a little bit. And, then Sydney, trying to speak to Nia, and Nia ain't trying to hear it. And then they kind of have a little confrontation with one another. And, Sydney's like, well, I'm more famous than you are. And, Nia Lee is like, I disagree with that one. And I'm thinking to myself, no, Nia, I disagree with you, because I've known who Sydney Starr is before I knew who you were. Like I said earlier, I knew who Sydney Starr was back in the Bad Girls Club days. I knew about Sydney Starr back in early, like 2011 or so. So 7 years roughly that I've known who she is, and I just found out who Nia Lee was a few seasons ago on Love and Hip Hop. So game of semantics. So Rich takes Sydney to the side, has a conversation with her, and then Jacquay comes back up, and Jacquay is talking to Sydney, talking about that's his sis. She came at her wrong. I think they both came at one another wrong, so they both have equal blame. I'm not gonna be like 100% it was Nia that was wrong, and I'm not gonna be like Sydney was completely wrong. They both have equal blame, and he's talking about somebody with that kind of energy he just would not want to work with. So we're gonna see what happened between Jacquay and Sydney Starr. All right, so then we see Jonathan. He is wanting to meet up with the girls after the party, and the girls, which includes Anais, Kimbella, and Sin. So Sin has just gotten back from her trip to Cabo with I'm stuttering. She just got back from her trip with Joe Budden. They didn't have sex, so we're gonna put that out the way. So then Anais and Kimbella get there. And I was confused because Jonathan's talking about how he wants an apology from them. And I'm like, I can get how you want an apology from Anais, and I don't get how you want an apology from Anais at the same time. Because Anais was basically defending you to Juju. And then when it comes down to Kimbella, you threw Kimbella under the bus. So Kimbella had every right to come at you the way that Kimbella did. And I am not going to fault Kimbella at all. Because like I said, Jonathan flipped that whole conversation with him and Kimbella. Kimbella did say that Juju came. She didn't say 100% that she's secretive. She said she understands why she is the way she is. She said she thought that Juju was secretive, but you have to get to know Juju in order for Juju to let her walls down on you, and that's what Kimbella said. She didn't say nothing about what Jonathan is trying to insinuate. So then Anais is said, "Well, I was defending you," and he says, but Juju didn't even say nothing to me. And he said the only person that was attacking me was Kimbella. And again, Kimbella was attacking you because you were blatantly fucking lying on her. So then Anais and Jonathan start arguing with each other. And Anais is like, well, it's not Anais' fucking fault that your funeral did not happen. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, and then speaking of Anais, what the fuck is that on her head? That stringy ass mop that's on her head looks a hot fucking mess. I'm glad even Jonathan pointed that shit out, that wig was trash. So, Anais and Jonathan, like I said, they were arguing, and Anais leaves. So then after Anais leaves, he starts to get into it with Kimbella again. And again, Kimbella was not wrong at all. Like, he's trying to make it seem like Kimbella was trying to say one thing about Juju, but it was all you. You were the one that called Juju fake. And, he's talking about how, Juju knew about the conversation that he and Kimbella had. Big whoop-de fucking do. She's going to see the show eventually, so she's going to find out one way or the other. So it was better that Kimbella told her, and then she'd be, I'm glad Kimbella told Juju, because how would that look if you supposed to be my homegirl, you with another person that's supposed to be my friend, but he calling me fake as fuck, and you sitting right here listening to him, and you don't even tell me that he called me fake as fuck. Like, I'm glad that Kimbella did it. I don't give a fuck. Like, I think Kimbella was right to do that. All right, so then we got Anais at the house with the kids and the head honcho of the mafia, Ruben himself. So, she is talking about how, first of all, let's talk about Anais, how different she looks this season. Anais has dropped some weight, because when you look at her titties, there's a big, huge ass space in the gap right here between her titties. Her face is smaller, and she don't look healthy. I'm not gonna say she don't look healthy. Her weight just doesn't look healthy to me. I mean, she might be healthy, but damn, she just looks small and frail. And she's talking about how she wants Ruben to be more on top of discipline, I guess, with the kids. I don't know what she meant by that. And then she's talking about how she's been doing this music for 15 years, but she just hasn't popped it, and how she just kind of wants to give up. And I'm like, okay, Anais, only person that you can blame right now is yourself, because you didn't use this show like you should have. You came on last season, you supposedly fucked around with Rich, and you didn't work on your music not one bit. Like, that's your fault. You should have came on this show and you should have promoted your fucking music, but again, you did not promote your music. So whose fault is that? Your fault. All right, and then lastly we have Jewels. So we see Jewels in the studio, and he's rapping, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I can't sit here and continue to look at Jewels this whole season, because when he's rapping with a lisp, and then he has a spit in the side of his mouth, which is really annoying. So then Kimbella comes in there, and they talking about the plea. So things have actually changed since the last time he talked. So instead of it being the 18 to 24 months, if you take the plea deal, it has now changed to 27 to 37 months. And if he goes to trial, that can be 47 to 57 months. So then, Kimbella is in her feelings, rightfully so. And, she's talking about how, she feels like he never answered for anything that the substance abuse. And then they start to get into an argument about that. And he gets up and he leaves the studio. So then later in the episode, we see where he's getting ready to go to the courthouse to decide if he's going to take a plea deal or if he's going to enter a guilty plea. So he comes out of the courtroom, and we find out that he did enter into a plea of guilty. So then they get into the car, and once again they start to argue with one another about his drug issues. And when it comes down to these two, I do feel bad for them. They talk about the infidelities, and he's talking. And I think Kimbella was trying to say she never cheated, but if I'm not mistaken, was she and Jewels together on season 2 when she told Emily that she slept with Fab? I mean, I don't remember. But that was Love and Hip Hop. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later.